In-game cosmetics play a big role in most games. There's just something about skins that players really like, and that's why the skin markets of some games are worth millions to even billions of dollars. And in this video we're gonna discover the different level of skin markets, starting with small niche markets and ending with the biggest ones. And we start at level 1, the skin markets of small indie games. There are a lot of small indie games that sell in-game cosmetics to their player base. Usually these skins are very cheap, and the main reason players buy these skins is just to support the developers. A perfect example of one of these games is Among Us. Even though it's not a small indie game anymore, the skin market is kept the same, and just for a few bucks you can buy a skin you want without crazy loot boxes or things like that. There's one thing about these skins though, and that's that if you buy them they are not tradable, so maybe it's not really considered a market. But yeah, this is just level 1. Let's go to level 2 now, dead markets. Some game developers looked at some big games and thought to themselves, you know what? We also want this. Let's make an open trade system, hope the players will trade our skins so that we can make a lot of money. There's only one problem with these games, and that's that some of the games with these open markets don't really have players. And yeah, where does that result into? Dead markets. A game that I personally actually enjoyed a lot is Business Tour. This is one of those games with an open market. You can buy and sell skins on the Steam marketplace, but every time I launch this game it only has like 200 to 300 players at the same time. So by far not enough players to create an open market for, and that's why if you search for the skins on Steam, you will find out that nobody is selling these skins. Business Tour has a dead skin market. But Mr. Lowlander, if you can't buy skins on the open market, why is this level 2 and not level 1? Well, just like the indie games, you are able to buy skins in-game from the developers. So if you really want skins for Business Tour, you can find your in-game cosmetics over there. Or use the open market and buy this crate for 1,500 euros. Level 3 now, penny markets. Penny market can develop in two different ways. The first one is when a game gets very popular. There's an open market, so a lot of people are buying and selling skins. Many players are opening loot crates and things like that, and suddenly the player base drops like crazy. When this happens, there are way too many skins in the game for the amount of players, which results in a lot of skins selling for like 3 to 10 cents on the Steam marketplace. An example of one of these games is PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds for the PC. If you take any PUBG skin, most graphs will look something like this. A big price peak around 2017, the year where PUBG was booming. After that a massive dip, and slowly over time the skins were losing their value day by day. I guess the 142 PUBG items I bought back in the day aren't really a good investment. Ouch. The second reason why games might develop a penny market is when there are enough players but people simply don't want the skins. An example of one of these games is 9 Parchments. If you search for this game on the Steam market, you see that a lot of people are selling these skins, but for the minimum amount of 3 cents. And why don't the players want these skins? Well, I've played this game and getting skins in this game is way too easy. If you play 9 Parchments for only an hour, you already get like 5 free skins, which means the supply of these skins are way too high and there's not enough demand. At level 4 we have the valuable but untradable markets of newer games. If a game is popular and relatively new, the in-game cosmetics might only be available for a fixed amount of money set by the developers. No penny skins for these games, but only medium expensive pixels, and one of these examples is Valorant. At the time of this recording, Valorant is a little older than 5 years. Doesn't sound new, I know, but compared to other games later on this list, 5 years is a very young game. And in this game the skins are expensive not because the players make the skins expensive, but because the developers are asking a lot of money for them. And this factor is very important for a level 4 market. In a level 4 market, the players don't decide how much the skins are. The players don't make the in-game cosmetics cheaper, also not more expensive. But the level 4 market is a market where the developers decides the price and you take it or leave it. $60 for this knife that looks like a children's toy. I bet you can buy the real thing for less than that. Then we go to level 5. These are the skin markets of valuable but untradable skins of older games. Sounds very similar to level 4, however there's a big difference. Take the game from the same developers as Valorant, League of Legends as an example. At the time of this recording, League of Legends has been out for 16 years. That's 10 more years than Valorant. And in those 16 years, Riot Games released a lot of exclusive skins for this game. One of these exclusive skins is PAX Twisted Fate. If you want to have the PAX Twisted Fate skin, you had to be within the first 20,000 attendees of the Penny Arcade Expo in 2009. This means that if you want this skin, you not only had to be playing the game in 2009, but you also had to go to a whole event only to get this very exclusive skin. Because this skin is so exclusive, it's worth a lot of money. Huh? But Mr. Lowlander, you said that the skins of these games aren't tradable. So how could they be worth a lot of money? And yes, my friends, that's true. These skins are not tradable. However, there's an illegal market where people simply sell the accounts that have these skins. Of course, this is against the game rules, but where money can be made, people will use the system. And at this point, people are selling accounts with the PAX Twisted Fate skin for more than $3,000. Also, some players might also have this question, doesn't Valorant has exclusive skins? The answer to that is yes. For example, the Arcane Sheriff that's been released in November 2021. But since it's not that long ago, there isn't really an illegal market for the Arcane skin. But maybe in 10 years, if Rito Games doesn't re-release this skin, the Arcane Sheriff might be worth a lot of money. And same for the Fortnite skin market, by the way. That game is also getting there. If it doesn't die out like PUBG, skins like the Honor Guard or Double Helix might be worth a lot of money one day. Then we go to level 6. Very popular games with open markets. There are a lot of examples of these games, but one that I personally found very interesting, because I had no idea it was this huge, is the online market of Roblox. Okay, what is happening with this game, man? During my research I found out that there are so many Roblox skins going for thousands and thousands of dollars. Well, in the back of my head I thought that Roblox was like a children game. How do they afford these skins? I have no idea. But one of these examples is the Dominus Frigidus. I think you pronounce it like that. But people sell this skin for $88,000, like, huh? Maybe I'm getting too old and I simply don't understand this game. But anyway, Roblox isn't the only game with an open market. Another very popular one is Team Fortress 2. Even though the player base of Team Fortress 2 is declining a little bit, there are still some collectors out there that are buying rare skins like the Golden Pen for over $7,000 each. And one more game that's really worth mentioning is World of Warcraft. Another one of those games that's slowly dying, but just because it's been out for so long, more than 20 years at this point, there are still some die-hard players that are buying and selling skins for over $200,000. That's like almost the same amount as a house. Now, before we go to the last level, level 7, I need to take a small detour to a type of market that's not really a skin market, but it looks very similar, and that's the games that have a pay-to-win skin market. There are some games where you probably have heard of, like Raid Shadow Legends, that has a massive pay-to-win skin market, where people buy skins simply to get better at the game. First, I wanted to put these type of markets on a scale, but then I thought, you know what, these in-game purchases aren't really skins. Instead, they are gear upgrades packed in the form of a skin. So even though these markets are worth millions and millions of dollars, I've excluded them of this list, because in this video I'm only gonna talk about the useless skins, the expensive pixels that should be worth nothing, but players pay way too much money for. And this next skin market, level 7, the king of all markets, is exactly that. I'm pretty sure everybody saw this one already coming. It's the market of Counter-Strike 2. This market is so huge that it deserved its own spot, because man, the total market cap of Counter-Strike 2, even after the huge crash, is more than $2.5 billion. To put that in comparison, the total market cap of the Counter-Strike skins are worth more than the whole Cheesecake Company. So basically, colorful pixels on the screen are worth more than a high-end restaurant. Wanna know what the most expensive skin is in Counter-Strike? Well, meet the case-hardened Karambit skin. In Counter-Strike, you have a case-hardened skin line, and every case-hardened skin line has a different pattern. And one of the rarest patterns is the blue gem pattern. Getting the skin with this pattern is so rare that only one of these Karambits exists to this date. So, how much is this skin worth? Well, let's say it sits in an inventory of a very wealthy collector. Someone made an offer for the skin for $1.5 million. The owner said, nope, that's not enough. So the skin is worth at least $1.5 million. Though this offer was made over 2 years ago, and just a week ago Counter-Strike made a huge update where you now can trade up red skins to knives. What crashed the skin market completely, almost every knife skin minus 50%. So it might be worth a little less today. But yeah, who knows. Maybe one day the Counter-Strike player base will decline, the market will crash just like the PUBG market did, and then you might be able to buy expensive nice skins for just a few cents. Anyway, this is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like Valorant content, don't forget to subscribe, and I see you guys maybe in the next video. Bye bye.